1986, Fruit and Insects by our first woman artist, Rachel Roish. And Rachel Roish was part of the Netherlands or resident of the Netherlands. And so remember that the Netherlands is just like other European countries at the time, going out, exploring, conquering lands, doing a lot of trading. And in particular, the Dutch were interested in the Spice Islands over here and controlling the trade of cloves, allspice, cinnamon, and they would do anything really to control that trade here. They were really the UPS of this era in history. They didn't have as much land. Remember, Spain had so much land here. The Dutch didn't have much land, and so they realized that they could make money by being the UPS of or the FedEx, whatever it is now, the Amazon of trade. And so merchants gained significant wealth. We see that in all of these pieces that were purchased by wealthy merchants, and they were not purchased by the Protestant church, which did not agree with the idea of using art and dolling up their churches to get converts. And then the other outcome of Europe going out there and conquering or colonizing the rest of the world is that the goods from Europe, like milk cows, grains like wheat, coffee beans, those all moved to North and South America and Asia, and goods from North and South America that had been isolated came to Europe. And so we see in Rachel Roish's painting the corn here and the squash here, that is not indigenous to Europe. That came to the Netherlands as a result of the Columbian exchange of goods due to this whole colonizing exploration effort. So that's context. And also context is that Rachel Roish was a child prodigy. Her painting life began at age 15 when she was apprenticed to a painter. And then by age 15, by 18, she was selling paintings, and her paintings sold for twice as much as Rembrandt in the day. She was admitted also to the Society of Painters called Confrere Pictura. So she was pretty well-established artist. In terms of form, what she's got here is she uses contrasting color of the corn next to the yellow next to the red, the yellow and green, and the bright blue of the salamander down here and the orange and black of the butterfly, just contrasting with all of these other colors. And she placed the red here of the plum compared to the red of the grapes on either side to kind of balance out the piece. Then we also see, which is what makes these still lifes unique, is we see crumpled up leaves. We see fruit or vegetables like the ears of corn here. Some of the kernels are really going bad. And the leaves up here are kind of going bad. So they're past their time. The other idea here about form is that this is Baroque art. And we can see that because there's a use of darkness around the outside, and then there's light here on these peaches. I think this is probably not as bright as they are in real life, the painting itself, I mean. And then she uses chiaroscuro to create this modeling form. So we get this 3D texture. We also, though, get this emotion because there's a bright light here on the salamander, and this butterfly is about to land, but probably looks at the salamander and thinks twice about it. So there's emotion even with a still life in this Baroque piece. And you can see here, she was actually more famous for her still lifes of flowers. You can see that she's well, you can't see the brush strokes up close, but I'll tell you that she's got real fine use of brush strokes that creates a smooth flower here. All these petals have got some smooth, detailed surface. Notice here the moth, and these are tulip bulbs. And we've got, where is that? Oh, here, a dead flower. So again, combination of insects with live or with flowers or plants, plant life. And then content here more. Her father helped her to see the world through, under the microscope. And this observation is playing out in her art because she is observing birds' nests, she's observing insects up close, she's observing these salamander and butterfly in a way that a lot of artists aren't. And, the natural world is being brought into her art. Her father was such a scientist, a collector of insects, that he sold his collection to Peter the Great from Russia. So he had an amazing collection that Royce gets advantage of. And then more content is, this isn't necessarily a piece about religion, but there is a religious aspect to this piece that anybody in that time period would have noticed. And that is that she's got the wheat, the symbolic bread body of Christ, and it's right next to the grapes, the wine, the blood of Christ. Somebody would have seen that. And then don't you love that beetle bug right there? So the Protestant sharing still the message of the church, but not having it be the center focus. And then finally, function for this is that it obviously serves as a piece that a wealthy Dutch merchant can buy. She made this actually for a friend who I think commissioned it, but these still lifes would have been bought by prosperous Dutch traders. There's also another function, and that is that this Vanitas is they're called vanity paintings. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to lay out in the still life all my stuff. I'm going to show you how wealthy I am because I can afford, fresh grapes and peaches and plums and corn. And this is just going to be an example of my wealth. So that's a Vanitas painting. But the underlying meaning of that is, hey, your wealth is worthless. You're not going to be taking this with you when you die. The other still life kind of variant is what's called a memento mori still life. And it's where objects are placed here, like, a very nice, possibly violin here. I don't know what this object is, but these can be objects like a wine glass, and placed in the midst of them is a skull. And so that's a reminder that everybody's going to be dying here. And so all of this wealth is pretty much useless in death. So Vanitas paintings showing our wealth is worthless, and memento mori paintings reminding us that we're going to die. And those are all still lifes in the Baroque era in the Netherlands.